Unearthing the impacts of coal exploration. Industrial development has been quietly creeping across the landscape in Alberta's Rocky Mountains. A renewed interest in coal and the rescission of the 1976 coal policy opened the eastern slopes of the Rocky Mountains to new industrial activity, and it all started before Albertans had been consulted. The eastern slopes of the Rockies are some of Alberta's most valuable, unprotected pieces of public land. This region remains a vitally important area for large mammals like grizzly bear and elk. It supports our mountain forests and fescue grasslands. The rivers, creeks, and streams send clean, clear water to hundreds of thousands of people downstream and provide critical habitat for the threatened West Slope cutthroat and bull trout. These slopes are important places where Indigenous peoples practice their traditions and culture. The region stretches across Treaties 6, 7, and 8. These hills are a popular hunting and fishing destination and sustain the region's ranching economy. A series of coal projects are putting all of this at risk. Despite the temporary reinstatement of Alberta's coal policy and temporary halt on activities, significant damage from coal exploration has already been done. Coal exploration has been creeping across the landscape, building hundreds of kilometers of new roads and hundreds of drill sites, disrupting and displacing wildlife, using up water, and forever altering this iconic landscape. How does coal exploration impact the environment? Coal exploration entails the construction of access roads and drill sites. These activities disrupt wildlife, water, and vegetation, not only during active exploration, but for many years to follow. While the companies might only use these sites and roads for a short time, they are difficult to reclaim, and their impact can persist for decades. Roads and industrial activity make it difficult for animals to move through their habitat to meet daily or seasonal needs. Roads also have a huge impact on how water moves across the landscape and the quality of that water. For example, roads that cross over streams can contribute dust, dirt, and gravel into the stream system. Improperly constructed roads can also divert streams, altering their natural flows. Adding sediment into streams can change the chemistry of the water, impact drinking water quality, fish habitat, and reduce the availability of oxygen in the water. Coal exploration also requires water withdrawals from streams, including habitat for threatened native trout. While water becomes scarcer across southern Alberta, we must ensure it is preserved for those who need it most: the land, wildlife, and people. All exploration activities cause habitat loss and create a visual and noise disturbance. These disturbances block public access to areas under exploration and disturb the activities of other land users that rely on the region for their culture, livelihoods, and recreation. Exploration also contributes to larger impacts on the landscape as they pile up on top of forestry, oil and gas exploration, and motorized recreation. The compounding effects of all these activities are called cumulative impacts. And before a new mine has even been approved, the industrial footprint on the landscape can become overwhelming. Where did coal exploration happen? How much disturbance has occurred since June 2020? The rescission of the coal policy resulted in an explosion of exploration activity across these sensitive areas. In the past few years, more than 250 kilometers of industrial access was approved for coal exploration. At least 200 kilometers of these roads were new. More than 700 drill sites were approved across the landscape. Even now, while the coal policy has been temporarily restored and further activity is halted pending land use planning, this new footprint remains on the landscape, with no clear plan for reclamation. Across the region, this activity has impacted critical habitat for threatened native trout, causing fragmentation and disturbance to habitats of other species, such as grizzly bear and bighorn sheep. It's closed access for recreational users and impacting other local economies. We can't let this disturbance sit on the landscape for years to come. These damaged areas must be restored by the coal companies as soon as possible. All coal exploration must be reclaimed.